spent my vacation of us bringing our annual banquet back home to the U Street community, where our organization has been located since its founding nearly 9 years ago. And in this short period of time, we couldn't be more pleased with the progress or the development of our students. We believe that we have one of the finest traditional Kung Fu programs here in the United States. And I attribute this to the hard work and dedicated efforts of our instructors and a supportive community who have worked together to make our programs relevant in these difficult times in which we're living. With violence everywhere, sickness everywhere, apathy everywhere, and confusion everywhere, I'm happy to say that we provide a place where young and old can come and be inspired and motivated towards conquering all the negative influences and challenges that confront us. So ladies and gentlemen, students and instructors, thank you all very much for your goodwill and support and dedication. It's helped us make tremendous strides in the past 9 years, and it is the primary reason we will continue to flourish and prosper in the future. Each year at these gatherings, I take a few moments to make a few remarks concerning the practice of traditional Kung Fu. Well, what specifically do we want for the students? And how are we attempting to direct their training and development? We have students starting as young as 6 years old and continuing their training with us for years and years, because there's no such thing as completing Kung Fu training. There's always something new to learn. And as instructors, we have a big responsibility because we're in a position to exercise tremendous influence over our students, even affecting the course and direction of their lives. We offer classes 7 days a week with varying levels of challenge, and we provide our students opportunities to demonstrate their skills in all types of venues, from neighborhood street festivals to international tournaments, to performing in prestigious venues as our own Lincoln Theater right down the street. We offer a safe, clean environment where lessons of character and responsibility are taught along with the physical instruction. And the emphasis of our training is on preparation for living a meaningful life. Fortunately, parents, we are not just another play school for your little ones. If you watch a class, you may see some sad faces from time to time, but that's only because we demand from the children that they strive to reach their full potential, and sometimes that's a painful process. Kung Fu is skill developed through hard work and effort over time. It's a very disciplined and structured art form, not always easy to learn and not always fun, but the benefits are numerous and can be enjoyed over a lifetime. Last year, we incorporated the Hometown Choy Leadership Institute to help our students prepare, or to help prepare our students to understand and deal with the difficult times in which we're living. Stop and reflect a moment about the horrendous violence in the city where 8-year-olds and 14-year-olds have been shot down in their homes. Countless other children neglected and leaving school in record numbers without graduating, setting up a prescription for personal disaster. The shameful neglect of many of our seniors who don't have air conditioning in the summer or adequate heat in the winter, or in some cases, even enough to eat. The issues of universal health care, the struggling economy, and the rising number of people falling below the poverty line, the hard-working homeless and overly burdened families, many of whom have been put out on the street because their apartment buildings have been sold to developers who've turned the buildings into high-priced condominiums or apartments. And if you live around here, you know what I'm talking about. Poor people all over the country thinking that the military would be a way to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, are soon shipped off to die, far from home, not in defense of their country, but for wars that make no sense. job training, but has now become what Congressman Rangel of New York has labeled a death tax on the poor. These are difficult and challenging times for all of us, but especially for our youth. And through the Kung Fu Academy and Leadership Institute, we encourage our students to think critically about these issues and others having profound effect on their lives. And we provide inspiration and motivation for meeting many of life's tough challenges that they will soon have to face and resolve themselves. The training we offer comes with a message that stresses community service. We encourage our students to become leaders, setting example as activists for positive social change, and not just becoming managers of the status quo or somebody quietly and passively presiding over the declining affairs of their community, their family life, and conditions of the human family worldwide. The demonstrations and other work we perform, such as the panel poems at the Lincoln Theater, are for the immediate good that they provide and are also a means to get our students more community-minded so they will not go through life thinking only of themselves. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, I got mine, you get yours. Sounds like a criminal talking, doesn't it? You know, one of my personal heroes was the late Paul Robeson, who when asked about his standing up for human rights around the world said, I do not separate my work as an artist from my work as a human being. I do not separate my work as a martial artist or a Kung Fu instructor from my work as a human being. And as chief instructor of the Choy Kung Fu Academy and the president of the Leadership Institute, I do not desire for our students to separate their work as martial artists or other profession of their choice from their work as human beings. True martial arts provides a means to strengthen the body and will, to endure the sacrifices and suffering and perseverance associated and required with living a meaningful life. I mentioned Paul Robeson because more than anyone else, I would like him to be a role model for my students. Paul Robeson demonstrated greatness in every aspect of his life. He was an artist, a scholar, an athlete, and humanitarian, always in the forefront, standing up for the poor and oppressed, and never lost his tongue when it came time to speak truth to power. Paul was born in 1898, the son of a runaway slave. He entered Rutgers College at 17, where he was a Phi Beta Kappa scholar and an All-American football player. And after Rutgers, he played professional football on weekends to support himself while pursuing a law career at Columbia University. He left his pursuit of a law career to sing and act, and created a sensation as a performing artist in the United States and Europe. He had an incredible baritone voice and stage presence. And in the late 1930s, after living in Europe for approximately 10 years, he decided to return to the United States to fight racism. And he traveled the country protesting lynching, picketing the White House, and refused to perform for segregated audiences. And for an entire decade, during the 1940s and 50s, he was the most recognized and admired American in the world. And throughout his illustrious career, he refused to separate his work as an artist from his work as a human being. And because of his working class origins, and you can't get more working class than being the son of a slave, because of this, he identified with the struggles of working class people